I have fixed my Wi-Fi, or I should say my daughter has fixed my Wi-Fi, so hopefully it'll all be good. Um, all right. So last night I watched a movie with my daughter. I think it's called Ford versus Ferrari. Totally not a pick that normally would happen in my world, but she picked it, and it was about the 1966 Le Mans race, in which the Ford car won. And the driver, his name is Ken Miles. It's a true story. I was struck by his humility. He was very much winning this race. And the Ford people asked him to slow down so that all three of the Fords could finish one, two, three at the same time. And they ended up losing the race on a technicality because his car started just a few feet back from one of the other Fords. So even though he was winning by laps and laps and slowed down to have the other two cars join him for first through third place, he lost. And it meant that he lost the Triple Crown of racing for that year. It's a very big deal. And I was struck by his humility in the end, where he immediately just started thinking about how can we make this car faster, because he built the car in part. And it made me think about the yoga journey of um, always striving for your best, but letting go of the results of your efforts. This constant battle that we have against our ego at times, where we want to um, never give up and always let go. And this is a hard balance, and it's spoken of a lot in the Yoga Sutra around this capacity to give something our all, but to completely let go of the results of what happens, to know that that's not our responsibility. Um, the oak tree just lets the acorns drop, and has no control over what happens to all of those acorns. Um, so think about this for your own life. The goals that you set, the obstacles that come in your way, the things that you want to have happen and don't, the disappointments of things that you have strived for and put a lot of effort into that don't come to fruition. And then the attachment that we have to the things that do come to fruition, and the curse that attachment can have on us. So freedom really is this ability to fully commit and give ourselves over to a task, and then completely let go of what the results of that effort is. So as you close your eyes, think about how this shows up in your life. Could be small things like, I don't know, something simple like you're cooking a meal and it burns. Um, doesn't matter what it is, but think about the ways in which you might be able to kind of untether yourself from the attachment of the results. Never give up and to always let go. So ground yourself in your body. And feel into the sensing of how you are right now. Do you have a lot of kind of ego guarding about wanting things to be your way? I'm right, you're wrong. My way, not your way. How does this kind of show up? And as you drop your awareness and your attention into your body now, notice the fullness of your breath and see what it feels like to have that beautiful, full, deep breathing. Allow your shoulders to drop down. Feel a sense of ease come across your face. Feel a sense of broadness across your collarbones, a sense of a little bit of weight in your shoulder blades where they kind of have a plumb line that's taking them down to the bottom of the ocean. And when your shoulder blades drop, what happens to the front of your body? What happens to the heart? See if you can keep yourself open like this, where hopefully the sense of open heartedness, the opposite of the slouch, becomes something natural and at ease in your body. Ready? Let's place the hands together at your heart and offer an intention. Maybe it has something to do with this sense of release of attachment to the results of your efforts. Maybe it's the motivation to come into the fullness of your efforts. Maybe it's something entirely different. When you're ready, release your hands and let's find our way onto our back. All right, so take your practice just for you, always and forever. The practice is just for you. So, any given day, whatever it is that your body needs, see if you can allow that to be what happens. Okay, so we're going to stretch out and lengthen our body. As you breathe well, just see what it feels like to have this sensing of an open body. Deep, full breaths on the inhale and a full, complete exhale. And maybe that sense of reach one side and then the other. Particularly notice the feeling as your arms are overhead. It's just this little tiny back bend that's living in your chest, in your thoracic spine. See if you can enjoy that feeling and just notice what that enlivens within your body. And then bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little rocking, a little hug. And it feels nice. Maybe your head can slosh back and forth. Okay, let's circle the knees, kind of rolling in one direction a few times here. And then rolling in another direction a few times. And then let's move in the third direction, opening your knees out and bringing them back in. Let's find a star on the ground. Reaching your arms and legs out wide, stretch and lengthen. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Enjoy the sensation of opening your body. And then enjoy the sensation of closing your body up. Draw your head and knees toward each other. And then find that on your breath a couple of times where we open outward to a big expanse and then we close inward to a snug hug. And your head down. Right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and start to wiggle your toes and roll around in your ankles, feeling that freedom of your feet. How nice to have this sense of freedom in your feet. Give a good tight squeeze into that knee. And then let's switch sides. Left knee coming into the chest, right leg long on the ground. Notice if you have any differences between the two sides, either in your knee or in your hip. All right, both knees into your chest. Let your back rock just a little bit. We're going to roll over onto our right side. You can use your arm as a little bit of a pillow if you need. Grab onto your left foot and let's stretch our quad here a little bit. So just open up, and I want you to do this kind of in a rhythmic way. So draw your left knee up toward your chest, and then stretch your left knee away from your chest. So you're kind of dynamically stretching your quads here. Your heel come close to your buttocks, holding on to the front of your left ankle. Take care to notice what your back is doing, so we're not trying to have this big arch in the back as we reach that leg. And then after the next pass that you have, let's go ahead and stay in this stretch. Tailbone descends toward the knees, pubic bone up toward the navel. Just enjoy. Try to keep the knee in line with the hip. We're going to release that. Let's roll over to the other side. We're on our left now. Of course, you can use a block or a blanket underneath your head if you need. Grab onto the top of your right ankle with your right hand. And then let's just move through that dynamically. So we're stretching our knee away from our chest and then bringing it back in toward our chest. So just a few passes. Doesn't have to be your most extreme range of motion. We're just kind of warming up the flexors, allowing the the quads and the hip flexors to gently start to open. And then when you get to the knee lengthening out this next time, let's go ahead and hold. Heel close to your buttocks, tailbone descends, pubic bone lifts. Keep the knee in line with the hip. See if you can get the feeling that your whole femur bone can draw away from your chest. Relax that and come back onto your back one more time. Draw your knees into your chest. Let your back relax. We're going to put our feet on the ground. And let's windshield wiper our knees left and right. Just making a couple of passes, letting your hips open up a little bit. Something so simple can really feel quite profound sometimes, simply twisting the body. All right, let's roll onto our side and come up onto all fours. Now, as you find your way to your hands and your knees, it might feel really good to do some cat-cows. So let's just start there. And let's savor, moving your spine. I always say that, if you have one pose that you can kind of take with you, this is such a good one. It wouldn't be the only pose I'd want to do, of course, but I wouldn't want to have a day without this pose. All right, so let's enjoy the cat-cow in your body. And remember, cat-cow doesn't always have to be on all fours. You can do this sitting in a chair. You can do this, even just that starfish and stretching out and drawing in is an example of this movement of the spine that we're looking for, that kind of dynamic nature of flexion and extension. After a few passes, feel free to move around any way you want to move around. What feels good today? Do you want to wag your tail? Do you want to circle the pelvis? Do you want more mobility happening, or do you need more mobility happening in your low back or in your mid back or in your neck? So kind of just find the movement that your body's asking for. And as always, try to think less and feel more. Curl your toes under and stretch your hips back toward the heels so that you're in a child's pose, but your heels tucked under. Just feel the Achilles stretch a little bit. And then relax that. Come back up onto all fours. Let's find our twist. Reach your right arm up in the air. Take a breath, and as you exhale, drop that shoulder down and find your twist here. Breathing deeply. Let your head rest on the ground. Gaze downward. Enjoy the mobility in your spine. Now when we come out of this pose, only come out a little bit. So we're going to do a posterior capsule stretch. in your shoulder. So face the floor. Just allow the collarbones to open up. The arm is still underneath you. And just, I've noticed since my shoulder surgery that this is an action that's extremely difficult for me to do. And try to sense into the AC joint, the where the collarbone meets your shoulder. Okay, that little joint in there. And see if you can just melt in that space so that you can allow that joint to really kind of fold in so you can open up the back of the shoulder. Release that. Lift the arm all the way up in the air and then place the hand down onto the ground. Let's change sides. Okay. Left arm lifting up in the air. Exhale. Drop that shoulder down. Gaze toward the floor. Full breaths here. Enjoy the twisting of the spine. Let your head melt and relax as best as you can. Try to savor. We're moving slowly. Try to savor the moments. Remember that it's good to have goals. It's good to have destinations. But it's also good to let go of what the expectation of that is. So perhaps your body is telling you, no, we're on a different trajectory today. You think that's where you want to go, but your body is saying something different. So always try to listen to the moment at hand. All right, let's come out of it a little bit. Collarbones spreading wide. Feel that posterior capsule stretch. The arm is still underneath you. Inhale, reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. Let's lift the dog pose. Okay, so extending through the body. Feel free to pedal your feet. Coming into that open, awakened back body line. Okay, so feel into it. See if you can not only feel the backs of your legs, but the spine as well. Melt your head as best as you can. See what it feels like to get that feeling of I yield, push, and reach. And the head can soften and surrender. It doesn't mean you have to have your chin right up against your chest. Just try to be neutral in your neck and let your face and skull relax in the pose. Enjoy the space in your body. Breathe deeply. All right, walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. Hands on your blocks if you'd like. Inhale for a halfway lift. Grow and lengthen through your spine. Maybe you want to pedal your feet again here. If that feels good, you can draw one hip back and then the other. All right, relax. Let your knees bend again. Melt your spine. Shimmy your hips. Rock your shoulders. Relax your head. And when you're ready, rise all the way up. Arms coming up to the sky. Find your breath. Reaching your arms upward. Open heart. Let's cactus open the arms here. Feel that spreading of your wings. And exhale and round in. Feel the back body open. Let's repeat that. Inhale, arms coming up. Let's cactus open the arms. Exhale and round in. Reach the arms one more time. Lift them straight up. Lean back a little bit. Find the back bend that's available in your body right now. And then a big swan dive forward and release your body. Relax your head, shimmy your hips if you want to. Inhale for a halfway lift. Spine is getting long. Exhale, melt back down. Let's repeat that. Inhale, halfway lift. Spine growing, thigh bones back. Exhale and melt. Okay, left foot comes back, right foot in front. You're finding a lunge. Put your hands on any height of the blocks that feels right to you today. Okay, let's find our lunge and let's go ahead and start moving. And then straighten the front knee. See if you can relax your skull as you straighten your leg. Feel that sense of ease. Okay. Going back and forth between the bent knee and the straight knee, or straight-ish knee. Don't worry, stay within the range that's available in your body. Come into a lunge, place your back knee down on the ground. Just open up the hip flexors a little bit more. We had that beginning stretch to open our quads, and let's extend that now into the hip flexors, opening the heart wide. Take a deep breath. Ground through your front foot. So try not to fall into the earth, but push off the earth. Breathing deeply. And then let's lift the knee up off the ground. Find your way. And you can always keep the knee down. You can do this next part with your knee down or up. We're going to come up to a crescent lunge. Reaching the arms upward, lengthening to the sky as best as you can. Feeling that extension. And then take your right hand on your thigh or on your hip, and we're going to stretch up and over through the left. Finding that big open heart, big open side body. And then we're going to turn this into a twist. So forearm can come on your knee, your elbow can come to the outside of the knee. You can put your knee down and have your hand on the ground. You can have your knee up. So find a twist. Anything that feels good in your body right now. Shoulders away from the ears. Feel the heart expand. Come back, round, hand onto the ground. Back foot comes forward. Come into Uttanasana. A halfway lift. Spine gets long. Exhale. And fold. Let's step back with the other foot. Left is in front now. Finding your lunge. Start to move when you're ready. Bending and straightening your front knee and moving with breath. Ready? Place your knee down onto the ground. Enjoy that openness in the hip flexor as well as the deep compression in that left hip. Your toes can curl under or they can lay flat. Generally feels good. Hands on blocks to help you open up through your heart. Notice if you're just feeling a sense of falling. Press your feet and foot and knee into the ground. So you have that support system in place. And then you can keep your knee on the ground or you can lift it up off the ground for a lunge. Reaching your arms upward. So as you come into crescent lunge, just take your body where it can go. Feel that reach and length. Our way to a twist. So you can first just put your left hand on your thigh, stretch your right arm up and over so we feel that fullness in the side waist and the hip. Breathe deeply here. And then we're going to turn this into a twist by rotating our torso. You can put your elbow on your knee. You can put your hand on the floor. Wherever, try to repeat what you did on the other side. Do that pose here. Open up into your version twist. Collarbones broad. Hug into the midline with your inner thighs. Keep the groundedness. Keep lifting that right thigh so you have the balance across your pelvis. And then relax your hand back down. Let's find our way to dog pose. Hands root, feet root. Feel that extension. Open things up. Feel free to pedal your feet again if you want. Sway your hips. Drop one knee down and in. Whatever feels good. And then as you're ready, feel the movement toward a plank. And as you do, find that stability in the body. You can always put your knees down if you need to. Shoulder blades away from the ears. Feel those plumb lines drop toward your hips. Stabilize through your core. All right, come down and lay on your belly. Lie on your belly. Roll the shoulders a few times. Inhale, cobra pose, open heart, open chest. And exhale, and melt. Come back down. One more time. Stabilize your core. Inhale, rising up. And exhale, and coming back down. We're going to come into a forearm plank. I definitely can't do this. So you're gonna have your forearms on the ground. Try to have your hands in line with your shoulders instead of your hands coming together. And see if you can stabilize there. So the shoulder blades are on the back. Sometimes when we bring our hands together and we have that internal rotation of our shoulders, it feels a little easier. We can rely on our chest a little bit more. So as you bring your hands apart to shoulder width hip or shoulder width distance, see what it feels like, that balancing front and back body effort. Feel your core. Feel the strength of your legs helping you. A little bit of inner thighs lifting toward the sky. Shoulders away from the ears. Feel into your strength. And then put your knees down onto the ground and stretch back towards child's pose. Open up through your shoulders here. Feel that deep length in space. Breathing well. Walk the hands over to the right side of your mat and open up your ribs here. Feeling that connection from hand to hips. To the other side. Feeling that reach and length in the body. And then come back to center. Now this is a biggie for, actually let's stand up. We'll do this one first and then we'll move to a deeper stretch. So we're going to feel free to hold something if you want a wall. We're going to find our way into a little bit of balance. So first, just lift your knee, left knee up in the air. So we're standing on our right leg, just to get that sense of balance. And we're going to swing our leg. Okay, so we're just kind of moving back and forth, trying to find as much stability as one can find standing on that one leg. Find your drishti. Now again, like anything, try not to let your sense of I want to do this well, your attachment to balance is often a place where we can work on this. Never give up and always let go. And then put that foot down onto the ground. Let's change sides. Okay, standing on your left, hug the hip in so you're not sticking it out to the side, knee up. And then let's swing. Okay. And you can, put your arms somewhere that you need for balance. Finding your breath, using your core here, pelvic floor, your hips. Standing on your right leg. We're going to pick up your left. Come into dancer pose. Grab onto your foot. Okay. Reach that arm behind you to hold your your left foot. Reach the arm up in the air. Feel that extension in the body. Find your breath. And then let's kick forward. Just see where you land. So don't worry. Go where you go. Remember the open collarbones. Square your shoulders, your ribs, your hips to the front. That standing leg hip has to work hard. Perhaps bend your knee a teeny bit to support a little bit more. How's your breath? And then let's release. Lift that knee up in the air and put your foot down. Changing sides. Draw your weight down into your left foot as best as you can, ground. We're going to reach back and grab our right ankle. Reaching the left arm up in the air, find your breath, kick your foot into your hand and start to tip forward. It doesn't matter how far you go, but try not to turn your torso. See if you can keep your hips, your ribs, and your shoulders facing forward. Unlock your standing knee. Breathe well. Try not to grip the breath in attempt to grip the pose. Release your roots so you don't have to hold on to the balance. It's just the practice of being in the journey. And come back up. Put that foot down onto the ground. And let's come to the front of our mat. Take a deep breath in, reach the arms up, and then exhale and float forward. Let your back relax. Inhale for a halfway lift. Spine is growing. Exhale and surrender. Step your left foot back. Come to a lunge. Let's plant your back foot all the way down onto the ground. Virabhadrasana 1. Interlace your fingers. Stretch your arms up to wherever they go. And as you lift and as you find your way upward, just see what's available in the thoracic spine. Can you feel the roots of your legs, the stability of your core helping your low back, and the openness of the thoracic spine, the armpit chest, finding freedom? Maybe your head tips back, maybe it doesn't, but find the fullness, the grounding of the legs, the reaching through the spine, the openness of the heart. And then we're going to relax your arms down at your sides, lean forward, triceps higher than your spine, feel the back body work, hop up onto your foot, Virabhadrasana 3. Warrior 3. See what it feels like to be here. Engage your core, balance your hips and your shoulders as best as you can. Full breaths. Okay, and then come standing slowly up. Bring that left knee up toward your chest a little bit. And then place that foot down onto the ground. Let's switch sides. Our left foot is in front. Okay, so bring your hands down just so you can organize that depth of your lunge here. And when you're ready, plant your back heel onto the ground. Feel your roots. Interlace your fingers, maybe the opposite way. Stretch your arms up. Okay. Can you feel that you're not over dipping into the lumbar spine, but we're reaching out of our pelvis, we're reaching out of the lumbar spine to feel this big open heart. Let the back bend live in the thoracic spine here. Root into your legs. Drop into both feet well. Maybe tip your head back. Feel that open heart and that big reach. And then release your arms down at your sides. Drop down towards your leg. And then we're going to slowly find our way. And you can take a hop, put your foot back down in a different place and try again. Virabhadrasana 3. Arms back. Of course, if you'd rather have your arms forward or out to the sides, you do that. Squaring hips, feel into the work of the hamstring that you're standing on. Full breaths. Heads of the arm bones lift, collarbones spread, floating ribs draw in. Long line, crown to foot. And then stretch that foot back for a moment. Place your hands down onto the ground. Find dog pose. 2 hands on the mat. Stretch back. As you breathe here, let's just notice, what does it feel like to have symmetry in the body, to feel that sense of evenness through your 4 limbs weighting themselves down. Let's move forward into a plank and feel that core strength supporting you. Full breath here. Lower yourself down onto your belly. Let's take a sphinx for a moment. Forearms like that forearm plank we did earlier. Feel the extension of the heart, the reach all the way through to your legs. Now pay attention to your low back. See if you can engage your core to prevent that compression in the lumbar spine. Feel how engaging your core helps your low back to stay spacious. Now, of course, your glutes are going to turn on, but try not to squeeze your butt cheeks together. See if you can engage the fullness of your glutes, medius and minimus, along with the maximus. All right. Lower yourself down to the ground. Come up onto your hands and knees. Here's this bigger pose. You might need a strap for this. Okay, it's the bigger pose I was talking about doing earlier. We're coming into a lunge, right foot in front. Feel the hip flexors open up. We're going to either put our hand on a block or on the ground. We're going to reach back with the right arm and pick up the left foot and hang it. Okay, open heart. Spin your chest open. So there's a little twist in here. Shoulders away from the ears. If you need a strap, wrap it around your ankle. Feel the openness from your heart to your knee. Release that stretch. Come back onto all fours, maybe to child's pose. So you let those hip flexors totally soften in. Then when you're ready, we're going to move to the other side. So now we'll bring our left foot in front. Find that deep lunge. Right hand can be on the block or on the floor. Left arm reaches back behind you. We're going to pick up that foot. If you can't reach, wrap a strap around your ankle. Okay. Find your breath. Wrap your shoulders away from the ears and feel the openness across your heart. Try to hug into the midline with your legs so you're not falling out to the side. Shoulder blades down the back. Feel that open heart. Feel the space from your navel to your knee. Open up. Release that and come into child's pose. Let your body rest here. Let your back rest. Opening up your lumbar spine. To our belly again. We're going to try one leg at a time first. So kind of like half frog, right forearm landing in front of you. Reach back with your left hand on your left foot. And if you can spin, I can't quite do this, but if you can spin your fingers facing forward on your foot, great. Finding the breath, breathing deeply. And release that, change sides. Left forearm in front of you. Reach back with your right hand. If you can spin your fingers forward. This is an interesting internal rotation stretch on your shoulder. So just kind of do what your body can do. Tailbone descends. Finding relax that. Okay, put your head down on your hands. Pick up your feet and windshield wiper your knees left and right. Now kind of check in. You might even want to come up onto all fours and swivel around your spine, depending on what you're finding in this pose. If you need a little bit of back release, do that all fours. And then when we're ready, we're going to grab both feet and we're going to come into Dhanurasana. So hands on your feet, open shoulders, lift the heads of the arm bones off the floor, and we're going to inhale and lift on up. Okay. Finding your breath. Try to keep your knees in line with your hips as you do this. Lift your body up, kick your feet, let your feet kind of pull your hands so your shoulders open. Breathing deeply, maybe open your heart a little bit more, maybe lift your head, and then release and relax. Same, you can windshield wiper your knees, or you can come up onto all fours and swivel around in your spine. Hopefully that prepared us for where we're going. Let's go ahead and come onto all fours, everybody. Try to resist the urge to go into child's pose. I know that's kind of what your body's craving in this deep forward bend. Let's see if you can release your spine with a little less intensity of forward folding. You have two pathways. This is where the road's going to diverge. If you if you feel able and you want to do a full wheel pose, this is the time to do it. I'm not going to cue that one, so only do that if you really know what you're doing and feel open and ready for it. And then if you want to join me, I'm going to do heart bench, which is the more passive version of a heart opener of a back bend. So either full wheel on all fours, big back bend, or you can take one block on either the low or the middle height, and the second block at either the middle or the high height, depending on what you need. The block between your shoulder blades can be this way, especially if you're long torsoed, or this way if you're short torsoed. So see what feels best in your body. Okay, so heart bench, you just lie down on the blocks. Okay, so the one underneath your chest and the other maybe a smidge higher underneath your head. If you're in a full wheel, come down and rest, and you can repeat if you want to. In between, lie on your back and windshield wiper your knees a few times just to release your body. Remember, remember to give yourself a rest in between the two passes of the pose so that your body can recuperate its strength. If you're in heart bench, melt. What can you do to try to enjoy this pose? Now, of course, when you're unwell, like I am, something like this can be really good to open up the heart, but it also can, kind of stretch open a lot of those sensors, nerve sensors in your lungs that can cause you to want to cough. So find the place that feels good to you. If you're done with your second pass of a big back bend, now it's time to start releasing the spine a little bit. So lie on your back and windshield wiper your knees just gently back and forth. If you're windshield wipering your knees back and forth, after a few passes, just be still. Don't lift up, don't crunch in, just find that neutral path. Heart bench. And if you were in the full back bend, you can join us in the heart bench now. Remember, you can do whatever you want with your arms and your legs. Now, one of the most important things in heart bench is to melt your head. Very easy. Most of the time during the day, we are using our head, moving it forward in space a lot. So allowing the head to melt back so that the back of the head deeply rests is a cue in and of itself to the nervous system that it's okay to relax. So let's feel the breath. into the open heart. Allow your shoulders to melt down toward the ground. Those AC joints, your collarbones meet your shoulders. Let them feel spacious. Notice what the breath is feeling like here. Sometimes you can warm up to an apex pose that's very active, but you can equally warm up your body to a passive pose. The more free you feel, the more you're able to let go. And we're all going to come out when you're ready. And of course, if you're like, oh, I love this, then just stay. But just make sure you do, if you're behind us, just make sure you do some of what we're doing next when you come out. Lie down on your back. Try not to bring your knees in just yet. Windshield wiper your knees left and right. See if you can let your head do the oppositional turn of the your knees. So you get that twist in the full spine. Grab your strap. Tuck your right knee in towards your chest. Left foot is on the floor. And when you're ready, wrap the strap around your right foot and lift it straight up in the air. All right, so feel the roots of your hip. Drop it down as you rise up through your right foot. Shoulders away from the ears. The head is heavy. If you're able, straighten your left leg. We're going to take the strap in our left hand, cross the right leg over to the left. Heel of your right hand can sit and push away in that hip crease if you want. That leg back up in the air. Relax your shoulders, heavy head. And then bring your knee into your chest. Give it a hug. And stretch your leg on the ground. Switch sides. Left knee in. Let's start with your right foot on the floor. Left knee into your chest. A good squeeze. And then when you're ready, wrap the strap around your left foot. Lift it up in the air. Keep that right knee bent, foot on the floor. Feel the neutral lumbar spine. Root your femur bone and your left hip deep into the ground. Reach up through your left foot. Heavy, heavy head. When you're ready, straighten your right leg on the ground. Let's take the strap into your right hand. Cross your left foot over to the right. Left heel or hand, heel of left hand into the hip crease if you want. No need to do that if you don't. Remember the heavy head. And lift that leg back up in the air. Right leg is straight on the ground. Left leg is straight in the air. Heavy head. Feel the long extension in the spine. And then we're going to join the right foot in the strap. 2 feet are coming up. All right, so we're reaching up through our feet. We're dropping down through our femur bones. Feel the release in your lumbar spine when you drop your femur bones. You can flex and point your toes in that heel strap if you want. Heavy head, long spine. Relax your feet. Now you can bring your knees into your chest and give yourself the snug hug you've probably been wanting to do for a while. Put your feet on the ground. Let's move your hips over to the right. Knees come up and drop them to the left and find your twist. Open up across your chest. Breathe well. Come back up. Scoot your hips the other way. Bring your knees up and drop them down. Twisting open. Bring your knees back up. Let's come into reverse pigeon. Right foot on top of left knee. Reach back, grab your shin or your hamstrings of that left leg. Opening up your hip. Heavy head, you can always put a blanket under your head if you need it. Down onto the ground. Switch sides, left foot on right knee. Reach back, grab your shin or your hamstring. And stretching through that left hip. Some people like a little rocking and movement. Some people like stillness. What do you need today? Release your legs. Let's finish with a happy baby pose. Grab onto your feet and feel free to rock while you're here. So this is a deep opening in the lumbar spine, kind of opposing directions from what the class was leading towards. So slowly and carefully let your back body open up in this way. Whatever it is that you need to help yourself find Shavasana comfortably. So, maybe you need some support. Maybe there's another pose you want to do. Whatever, do what is needed right now. And as you find Shavasana, sometimes after both deep forward bends and after, like we did today, some back bends, sometimes having a bolster or something under your knees can be very helpful. As you allow your body to melt into the ground, feel the beauty of rest. One of the simple pleasures of having our bodies is feeling our bodies at rest. So be very aware, try not to drift into la la land. Be present in your body. Consciously let your body soften into the floor. Are you holding anywhere? Can you scan and just notice if there's a place where you need to release a little bit more?
take away the vice grip of your skull bones, imagine that they can float. Your brain has so much room. Your face can relax across your eyebrows and forehead, your sinuses, tongue, your jaw. Melt the space inside your ears. The base of your skull settle. Throat is relaxed and free. Ready? Let's begin to move our body a bit. Might feel good to bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit. Find your way onto your side. Eventually, take your time, come up to sit.
we find ourselves living more fully in the present moment. This feeling state of never give up and always let go becomes a bit more accessible to us. Let's place our hands together. Let's offer the gifts of our practice. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Oops. I can't see my computer.